So if I was forced to get rid of my entire makeup collection today, or I quit my job of beauty content creation, I'll be honest, I wouldn't buy 80% of what's viral right now. Now, I will admit, I'm very easy to please when it comes to makeup. I have said this in the past. I love playing with it. I love the process of like learning about new textures and formulas and kind of experimenting. But if I were to step out of my shoes for a second and think about like what I really reach for, it probably wouldn't be the things that you're seeing and what I'm seeing all over social media all the time. There's only a handful of products that I know that I could probably apply with my eyes closed and be really happy with. These are the things that I know are going to turn out looking really beautiful. So today I thought that I would share with you what those products are. And I want you guys to know that I'm going to be suggesting several different products within each category that we're going to go over. And while I love all of these and I reach for them really often, I don't really think that you need all of them, mainly because I have tried a lot of different things, like I said, and I do think that there's a lot of great products no matter what you're looking for. So I want to give you guys a range to work with. So we cannot talk about makeup without talking about the skin prep, because skincare prep is so essential when it comes to wearing makeup and just in general, I would say. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. The primers that I find myself reaching for are mostly ones that can kind of double as a moisturizing base or just like a moisturizer in general. I feel like unless you're looking for like a specialized primer, like an oil controlling or a blurring primer, I would replace primer with skin prep for most of my makeup preparation. I suggest that you use products that are gentle, but they target your trouble areas, specifically in the morning skincare routine. And for me, that's going to be oil and acne. Those are my trouble areas. My targeted products are a good salicylic acid cleanser to cleanse and kill acne on my skin, vitamin C for any leftover hyperpigmentation that I may have from sunspots and acne scarring, and an acne serum to prevent acne and control oils. Your routine will be different from mine. Everyone's skincare routine is going to be different. But as far as skincare prep that directly coincides with actual makeup, I would stick to something that is more moisturizing. I do feel like no matter what your skin type, whether you're dry or you're normal or you're oily, I think that moisturizing products are really the difference between long wearing, flawless faces of makeup and makeup that's going to break down and kind of look textured over the course of the day. I have noticed for me, if I don't properly moisturize areas of my skin, like my under eyes or like around my mouth, it does start looking really broken down throughout the day. And that has not always been the case. As I've gotten older, my skin has started to change a lot. I've noticed a lot of differences that I didn't notice maybe 3 years ago. So I'm starting to pay more attention to those things. Don't underestimate how much a good skincare routine can actually affect your makeup. I really feel like as long as you care for your skin, your makeup will already have a head start on looking that much more flawless. Now, since I have oily skin, I do tend to try to use moisturizing products that are leaning more lightweight, but still support my skin barrier and kind of add moisture that my makeup can still hold on to. I don't want something that's just going to disappear once I put it on my skin and it dries down, you know? So for the last few months, I have been using this product right here. This is the Haru Haru Wonder Black Rice Probiotic Barrier 2% NAD Plus Serum Mist. Now that is a mouthful, I know, but it's essentially like a spray toner essence type of thing. And I have talked about the barrier essence. I have it right here. This is more of your traditional milky toner, but what stands out about this one is that it's in this lightweight mist form, so you get an even coverage of the moisture that this can give you, and it's very easy to apply because you just spritz it all on. And because it does have double probiotics and that 2% NAD plus, it's gonna kind of like balance and soothe my skin even after all of my active ingredients, which my skin really needs because it can tend to be dehydrated because of those active ingredients. Because my skin texture has been changing much more noticeably these last few years, I am starting to incorporate products that double as something moisturizing and also something that supports my aging skin. And while Haru Haru Wonder is the sponsor of today's video, I have been incorporating their products in my routine for a few years now. If you guys have been been watching my videos for a while now, you know I love the Haru Haru Wonder line. So the way that I like to use this product right here, I think I'm like a third of the way through. I see the product right here. I have this much left. So I'll spritz on after cleansing my skin with my cleanser and before going in with my actives, just to allow for any moisture barrier so my actives aren't so harsh and drying on my skin. And of course, I love to take it down my neck. I love taking any sort of moisturizing product down my neck. My neck is where I see the most change these days. I have more noticeable fine lines and wrinkles, and those areas really benefit from like the plumpness and nourishment of this specific product. And I've been using this morning and night actually on my neck, and I follow it with moisturizer, and I really love the results. And it doesn't feel sticky or heavy. It dries down but still feels like you're getting that hydration. And you can also opt to use this right before your makeup. Sometimes if it's been a few hours since I've done my skincare routine, then I'll do a really light spritz. I have gotten feedback from you guys saying that you love this barrier essence, but if you're looking for more of a lightweight mist companion, I would really recommend this serum mist. It is going to be available at Target, but also available at Amazon, and I will link that down below for you guys in case you want to test it out. Despite having tried and owning so many foundations and skin tints and foundation sticks and everything under the sun, there are really only a handful that I feel like I reach for without even thinking about. I kind of came to the conclusion that it's the formula and not the coverage. I always thought it was the coverage, but really when I break it down and I like try to look at a pattern, I find that I prefer something that's more adaptable to my other makeup products and also to my environment. I do feel like I'm much more likely to reach for a foundation that will actually stay on my face in the humidity of Florida through the dry heat of California than I am to grab a high coverage foundation. I really do prioritize something that's going to move with the skin but stay on the skin. I want something that's slightly more moisturizing upon application because I find that that makes it easier to blend as I'm blending it in. Another current requirement for me is if it dries down more like a satin matte, that is a plus. That's like my go-to right now, but it doesn't necessarily have to. I kind of feel like I'd like a hybrid between a skin tint and a foundation. Those are the ones that I feel like I work the best with. Something that acts like a skin tint going on, but then dries down to more of a foundation when it comes to coverage and longevity. So to give you guys a list of a couple products that I think really hit the nail on the head here. This is the newest one, the Hung Van Gogh foundation. It's the Red Carpet Skin Luminous Foundation in the shade 11. This is supposed to be a fully neutral foundation range. I am a neutral leaning warm undertone, but this is like the perfect shade match for myself. The best thing about this is that it's high coverage, but it still has that runny texture that more skin tints have versus what a foundation would have. I love how easy it is to blend because of that, but it gives me a lot of coverage. My Maybelline skin tint in the shade 220. This does have medium coverage that is more buildable and moves with the skin. I love this because I can make this just a sheer wash of color, but then I can also make it a medium coverage. But either way that I wear it, my skin just looks so healthy and natural. And it does have this pearlescent sheen kind of going through it, but it doesn't translate like that on the skin. It just looks like healthy skin. In my House Labs foundation, one of my holy grail foundations. This is in the shade 230. I love this when I want something that's just going to completely even out my skin tone. I would say for myself, this is as high of a coverage that I would go comfortably without making it look like I'm wearing a mask. This melts into the skin and gives you such a natural finish. It's not too dewy, it's not too matte. And today and many other times, I will mix this with something such as the Haru Haru Wonder Barrier Essence just to give it more of a sheer wash of coverage, and it looks gorgeous on the skin. Now for concealers, this is where coverage matters the most for me. I prefer more of a higher coverage concealer because I feel like I can focus more of the coverage in like certain areas instead of blanking out my entire face. Also, concealers tend to have like a thicker texture, at least least the ones I like. And because of that, the coverage stays in place whenever you set it. Whenever it dries down, it really stays in place. And I do really love that about a high coverage concealer. But even though there are a lot of concealers that are a little bit thinner in texture nowadays, they still deliver so much pigmentation. There's just so many different variations and it can get confusing. But for me, if I were to start over, I would go with something a little bit hydrating again, but it has a lot of pigmentation, even more coverage than what my foundation picks would give me. Now, my first pick would be the Tower 28 Swipe Concealer. This is top tier because it is hydrating, but has a lot of coverage. I can easily use this in place of a foundation all over my skin, and it won't look like a mask. It won't look like a thick concealer all over the skin. It gives me the perfect amount of coverage, and it also gives me a lot of hydration that works really well as a concealer and as a foundation. Not all concealers can do that, but this one can, and it's so flawless on the skin. You can also still set this down, even though it does tend to be more hydrating. It doesn't cake up under powders. My House Labs concealer. This is in the shade 24. This also can double as foundation, but this has more of like a skin-like finish. It's not going to give you a lot of hydration. It's going to look like your skin just doesn't have any hyperpigmentation or uneven skin tone. And just like the foundation, this one is going to have the highest coverage, and I would say has the best shade match where it can double as, again, my foundation or my concealer. It is slightly brighter than some of my foundations, especially in the summertime, so it can brighten up my complexion really nicely, and it doesn't look too out of place because, again, it is just going to be that skin-like finish, so it just looks like you have really nice highlighted skin, I guess. And lastly, we have this Essence Silky Blur Hydrating Longwear Concealer. I have this in the shade 180. It's a very, very runny concealer, but it has a lot of coverage. It feels like a serum. It's so thin, but surprisingly, again, lots and lots of coverage. And because of the texture, I don't find that it emphasizes any skin texture that I have going on, any wrinkles or creases that I have around my eyes. And as long as I set this down with powder, it doesn't sink into like my nose area or pool anywhere like that. So really beautiful concealer. I reach for this so often these days. Moving on to our cheek products. So I love playing with blushes, and I also feel like I'm on like a never-ending hunt for some reason for a life-changing bronzer. Something that is buttery, that's smooth, gives me warmth and dimension, but doesn't look orange or like too muddy, and looks like a lit from within bronze. I have a lot of requirements. And I will say cheek products are where I've learned to not fight with my skin tone, not fight with my natural colors. And what I mean is that, again, I have a neutral leaning warm undertone. And while being neutral means I can comfortably play with like a large spectrum of colors when it comes to blushes that range from cool to neutral to super warm, I kind of find that my makeup looks the most at home on my skin when it's leaning slightly warmer. And I want to give you guys the caveat to say that, of course, that does not mean that you're not allowed to wear colors that aren't like objectively within your color palette or what you've been recommended based on like a color analysis if you've ever gotten that done. I do think that makeup is meant to be fun and bring you joy and make you feel confident. So honestly, whatever that means, I say do it. Like I myself, I love a beigey blush or like a bright red blush that may not necessarily be in my palette. However, for myself, I notice that I feel the best in my makeup when I really lean into those warmer color palettes. Those I think really allow my skin to look bright and alive. And as far as formulas go, I would suggest going with what matches your end goal in terms of how you want your makeup to wear throughout the day. So just a quick guide for what I think works. Liquid blushes are great if you want that dewy, hydrated look, but you could also powder it down. Creams, they are amazing if you don't want something that's going to emphasize texture on your skin. Powders, I think, are the perfect traditional format that will give you the pigment and longevity that you may be looking for. And baked powders are especially nice if you want like a slight glow or like a diffusion. I tend to lean towards those. And my new favorite is a cream to powder, like a bouncy, moussey blush. It blends like the best of both worlds for me. It blends like a cream, but it gives me pigment and staying power like a powder. I love how versatile it is. I can use it under or over my finishing powder, and I can also use it on my eyes or on my cheeks or on my lips to give like a blurred flush, and I can leave it there or I can add to it. For a cream that I would absolutely choose over any other, Danessa Myricks Blurring Balm Powder Cheek and Lip in Spiced Latte. This has that warm brown that looks like a warm beige on me. It has slightly enough of a pinky tone to it, but it still serves as a natural flush on my skin tone. This formulation dries down to more of a powdery finish and it lasts all day. It has Upslite in it, so it does kind of suck up your oils as you're wearing it throughout the day. It is beautiful, and they have so many different shades of this formula. For a baked powder, oh my goodness, I have so many that I really love. Now, baked powders can be quite dusty, so go in with a light hand if you do use them. Say Ciao. This one is great for a soft wash because it's baked, like I said, but it's this coral golden brown almost shade that really warms up the complexion, and it also makes my cheeks just look more plump and more defined. I do have quite a flat like cheek area, so these colors really help my cheeks pop. Same thing goes with the Kosas Blushes Life in the shade Wavelength. This is an even more bright pop of color that still looks at home on my face, surprisingly, even though looking at the pan, it almost looks neon. It gives such a beautiful, youthful look. It's like a bridge between a peach and a red. So for more of a traditional powder, I love the Haus Labs blushes, specifically in the shade Fire Moon. I have a love for this one. It wasn't in my project pan for quite some time. This is going to be more of a satin matte that blurs the skin, and it makes the cheeks look super soft and just like it has some sort of filter on the skin. This is going to be a beige peach, so it's almost an undetectable blush similar to the Danessa Myricks one on my skin, but it has again just enough of a peach shade to it where it pops on the cheeks and it gives the face more dimension. A newer addition, and one that I feel like I can't live without now, the Physicians Formula Bronze Booster Blush. This is the perfect bronzer shade. It has a slightly pearly finish to it, but you can customize it by taking more of the bronzy shade at the bottom or more of the peachy shade on top, and it is quite pigmented, so I would say go in with a light hand like I said, but wow, I have not been able to put this one down. And for my cream to powder pick, definitely the Glossier Plush Blushes. I love it for the soft, bouncy texture, but I feel like it still has the perfect amount of pigmentation that comes off of it. It is a strong pigment, but it's so easy to blend into the skin, and you can really play around with the pigmentation of these by putting this right on top of a cream, and it's going to kind of melt into that cream. Or alternatively, after you powder your face down, you can put it on top of your powder, and it's just going to give you even more concentrated color, and it's just going to pop on the skin, and you'll get that same very like diffused glow finish that you would get from the Plush Blushes. I have so many shades of this one. It is definitely my favorite out of all the ones that I've tried so far that have come out recently. For bronzers, like I said, I have a really hard time. I believe I collected so many bronzers in the last couple of years solely to find the perfect one. I have a hard time with bronzers specifically because I have some areas on my face, like right here, that just, they don't want to hold on to bronzers for some reason. Honestly, I think what makes or breaks a bronzer for me isn't actually the formula, but it is the color. Because if a bronzer can look like an actual warmth that my natural skin tone is creating, it's less obvious when it's like patchy in some areas, because skin tones are dimensional and we have different areas of our face that are more warm than other areas. Now, I know everyone is different when it comes to their preference for bronzer, and if you have similar tastes or preferences in makeup and makeup looks, I do encourage you to look for bronzer that looks almost undetectable on the skin. I tend to think that I need to go like multiple shades darker than my skin tone, but I have learned if I choose a bronzer that's maybe half a step or one step deeper than my skin tone, it is much much more my preference. I have to hold back and be like, is this going to show up on my skin? And if I'm questioning it, usually that's the shade that shows up on my skin. My first recommendation, Makeup by Mario's Sculpting Serum. This is going to be a half step down when it comes to the shade of bronzer. This acts like a foundational bronzer shade because it is very, very sheer, but I find that it really bridges the gap between a more intense powder bronzer and my foundation shades. I usually do couple this with a bronzer, but I'm telling you guys, this makes all the difference when it comes to making your skin look like it's diffused and just gradient. The Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in the shade number 3 Suntan. This gives me that perfect slightly bronze look that can be built up. This formula, it is so smooth. It feels like butter on the skin and it's so easy to apply. And if you get like a big chunk of pigmentation anywhere, you can very easily go in with your brush and just keep buffing it out and it blends out seamlessly. My LYS bronzer powder, you guys know this is in my project pan and I love this. Holy girl status for sure. This is gonna give me that full step down when it comes to shade. That's gonna add that perfect amount of warmth. It is more of a neutral bronzer. If you find that bronzers tend to go muddy or orange or red on your skin tone, this one I think really stays in that neutral area. It has a very nice silky texture and it works on me year round depending on how much I want to build this up on my face. And to go with that, the LYS bronzing stick in the shade Harmony, the same shade. Really just whenever I want a cream, I kind of use this in the same way that I would use the Makeup by Mario Sculpting Serum. I use this to kind of bridge gap and, you know, create some sort of gradient on the skin. It gives me that seamless blend. It has just enough hydration to where it never looks patchy and it doesn't dry down before you can blend it out with your brush, and it just looks like healthy skin. Again, this is going to be a neutral bronzer, so perfect for my neutral undertone. And lastly, the Haus Labs contour stick. This is more of a cream to powder texture and it almost goes undetectable once you blend it into the skin. This serves as a contour and a bronzer on me because it is going to be a cool tone brown versus being something that's like taupey and definitely more of a shadow contour type of product. I find that this satisfies both needs, so I think that this more flawlessly blends in with my bronzer because it's not just a strip of gray. It blends so perfectly, almost like I said, like it disappears, but you can really see a difference when you look at one side of your face with it applied and then the other side without it. Now let's talk about eye products. So these days, my eyeshadow preferences, they change by the day, you guys. Some days I only want to wear a neutral eye look with browns and golds, and then other days I'm craving like an iridescent, shifty, purple, brown, green eye look. So this one's hard for me. This one I could not necessarily narrow down to specific products, I have to admit. I think eyeshadow is more of a fun way to really express yourself when it comes to makeup. So with that being said, in this moment, if I were to start over, this is what I would do. This is what I would suggest to you guys. A good one and done eyeshadow, no matter if it's a cream or powder or liquid, whatever your preference, a colorful makeup palette, and a core neutral palette to use with everything else. Everything outside of that category, it's up to you, you guys. I don't know. I couldn't. I have too much fun with eyeshadows these days. I do have a full one and done eyeshadows that I love video, so I'll link that below for you guys if you want to see all of my recommendations. And if you'd like an updated video of that, let me know in the comments. I've been thinking about that recently. Now for colorful makeup palette suggestions, anything from Clionadh Cosmetics. They have the most beautiful iridescent finishes when it comes to their eyeshadows. They have shifty shades, they have glittery shades, they have like metallic shades, literally anything that you can think of. They have some of the best. I do feel like I have a lot of like random single shadows that I like to reach for when it comes to a pop of color. So what I'm going to do is pop them on the screen for you if you just want to see my recommendations. And again, this is what I'm loving currently, and for the foreseeable future, I think that these are just amazing. These are just examples of the types of shades or the types of finishes, I guess, that I would go for if I was trying to rebuild a colorful makeup collection. Now for my core palettes, it doesn't necessarily have to be mattes, but that's kind of what I chose because that's what I feel like I would want to start over with, starting with the Morphe Chroma Plus in Tailored Nudes. It is a 6-pan palette. I haven't been able to put this down, you guys. It's beautiful, it's buttery, it's easy to blend. It absolutely rivals high-end luxury eyeshadow palettes. It's great, and as you can see, there are neutral tones in here and slightly warm tones, so I love them, especially this shade right here. I have this palette on my eyes today. I can't get enough. I love using it by itself. I feel like I can do a bunch of different looks, and I can also top it with like a single glitter shadow or shimmery shadow, and it's a completely different look. And of course, my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. This one essentially is like the Morphe one, but with even more options here. Now, this formula definitely doesn't feel as buttery, but it's still really, really easy to apply and to blend into the skin. I don't have any trouble with this. I know some people do think that this is more chalky, but I haven't had that issue. I love this palette. There's every single transition shade that I would ever want in this palette. Now, what I'm more picky about when it comes to eye makeup is my eyeliner and my mascara. I absolutely have to have liners and mascaras that don't smudge and that stay put all day. Now, because of my smaller eyelid space that I have, I do require a long wear eyeliner or else I'll have a lot of transfer. I need something that's gonna allow me to do more of a soft smoky wing because that is my preference, but once it sets, I need it to stay put. Can Make Creamy Touch Liner. I love this for the precision and all day wear. It is a tiny micro tip that allows me to get the tiniest little wing, which is perfect for my smaller eyes. And once this dries down, it sets down, you guys. It does not go anywhere. They have multiple beautiful shades in this as well. And I love this in my tight line because it doesn't go anywhere no matter what I do. Next are my Makeup by Mario liners, specifically the Perfect Brown and Soft Brown. I also have the Plum and the Navy one as well. They are creamy, they're easy to work with. They give you such a beautiful smoky look without just diffusing into nothing. It stays looking pigmented, but blurred and smoky whenever you use the brush on the other side. It's an actual usable brush and it stays put after you apply it. After like a minute or so, it gives you some time to blend, but after that, I don't have it go anywhere. It does work nicely in the tight line, but if I wear it for over, I would say 10 hours, or if I'm out in the heat and stuff, I will have a little bit of transfer down on my lower lash line, but nothing where I look like I have raccoon eyes. And lastly, something I've been really enjoying, the Half Magic liners. Now these are very new, but I can already tell from the handful of times I've used it, these are going to be some that I reach for very often. They have a lot of fun colors that I think are still really wearable and you can use them as pops of color. This liner stays put. I've had this in my waterline and I haven't seen any transfer whatsoever. I have it in my waterline right now as well. I love this on my wing. I have it on my wing. It doesn't move anywhere. And it does have this pinched skinny tip where it almost does the wing for you. It's so beautiful, so creamy. It does have this little button on the bottom to dispense the product. I would prefer a twist because sometimes I'll push down on it like on my table and then I'll click it up. So I'm like, oops. But other than that, really, really beautiful. Now for my mascara, you guys know I take my mascara so seriously. So my lashes, they grow straight down. I wouldn't necessarily say that I have sparse short lashes, but they do get weighed down so easily. I don't have short or sparse lashes, but I do need a really good curl coupled with a mascara that's gonna hold that curl. My go-to lash curler these days, the Refer one, this is number 20R, and the Surratt eyelash curler. Those give me such beautiful curls without like crimping my lashes, you know? Now, when it comes to mascara, I do prioritize length over volume. Like I said, I don't necessarily have sparse lashes, but I do really love something that is noticeable with my smaller eyes. That's of course personal preference. Adjust that to your needs. I'm pretty sure some of these mascaras have a volume version and a lengthening version. Now, if you're looking for one that's easily accessible, something you can just grab from the drugstore, the Maybelline Full and Soft waterproof mascara. This is going to be in a silver tube. This almost acts like a black mascara primer. It feels super soft, very feathery on the lashes, and it layers really, really well with any other waterproof mascara. It just keeps your lashes feeling soft. They're not flaky, but it serves as something that's gonna just hold the curl throughout the day. I used this for years and years and years, coupled with pretty much any mascara that I tried, and I've gone through bottles and bottles of this one. Of course, say it with me, you guys, my Hero & Make Advanced Film Long and Curl Mascara. I can't tell you how many bottles or tubes of this I've gone through. This is my go-to for long wear. This one I like to wear alone. I like to wear it layered. I use this whenever I need my makeup to last all day. I'll use it if I'm wearing my makeup for an hour, and it's foolproof, it's bulletproof, it's gorgeous. It does have little fibers in it, so it helps a little bit with the volume, but overall I find that those fibers really help to lengthen those lashes as well. It's definitely a stubborn mascara, so I do recommend that you get the Hair & Make Mascara Speedy Remover. That's like the only thing that's gonna get this thing off. I will say that as my tubes get older, I do notice a little bit of smudging underneath my lash line, but to combat that, the best combination I have found is to couple this with a tubing mascara. My absolute favorite tubing mascara, Colfi's tubing mascara. This basically just wraps up those lashes so that this mascara doesn't smudge and transfer all over the place. It allows my curl to stay all day. It gives me a little bit of volume, and my lashes stay looking perfect no matter what. I've worn this to weddings, to events, and I love it. And my newest addition, and one that I'm so impressed by, this is the Etude Curl Fix. You guys were telling me about this quite some time ago, and I finally got my hands on it. This is definitely a one and done go-to mascara these days for me. It has this really skinny brush that has a very, very slight curve, which is perfect because, like I said, I do have a flatter profile. It adds mostly length, I would say, and it keeps my lashes up. I have no smudging at all, and it's easy to remove with my mascara remover. You can really play around with how you shape your lashes. It's not too wet, not too dry, one of the best. And of course, we have to talk about brows. I would say that my brow pencil is pretty interchangeable as long as it is slightly waxy and it has a really fine tip. I love a micro brow pen tip because I do have pretty thick brows. I just essentially have to like fill in slightly and mainly shape my brows. So to shape it, I like to go in with something that can look like real brow hairs. The Nano Brow from Kosas, of course, one of my favorites. The Morphe one, the Nano Brow, this one, really, really beautiful as well. It gives you such fine little strokes. And more recently, I have been using the Revi Beauty one. This does also have a really small micro tip to it that's super easy to work with. This is going to be more pigmented than those other ones, so I use this very sparingly. Oh my gosh, and also a brow pen. The Anastasia one is the one that I reach for the most. This one is so beat up, but this specifically, I like to go in at the bottoms of my brows to just create some micro strokes, and it looks really beautiful that way as well. Brow gel, if I were to start over, I would probably just use the Rare Beauty Flexible Brow Gel. I've gone through tubes and tubes of this one. I cannot get enough. I just recently purchased the tinted one, which I'm really excited about because I've heard only good things, so we will see how that one works for me. But this holds my stubborn brows. My brows tend to fall on the ends, like my little tails, and this is like the only thing that's going to keep them up. I also have some drugstore alternatives that I've talked about in the past, but If I were to keep it simple, definitely the Rare Beauty one. So lip product is one where I know if I had to start over, this category would quickly pile up. I am a sucker for a good lip product. I love experiencing the different formulas, the different textures. I like playing with combinations. It is definitely the fastest way, in my opinion, to kind of amp up a look or to kind of pull it all together. And for me, this category I would say is ever changing. So I would encourage you to really pay attention and understand what formulas you gravitate towards. Once you kind of know the formulas that work best for you, then I feel like you would have a better chance at picking products that you would actually wear and can mix and match with other products that you love versus whatever is viral in the moment. Now, I know that this can seem cumbersome, but I would suggest going with multiple lip products, like doing a lip combo versus one specific lip product. Because if you're like me, you like to kind of play around with your lip products and you may get bored with just one lip product, which could cause you to seek something out that, you know, you may not actually need. And I almost feel like playing with a lip combo feels like you're trying something completely new. So I do want to quickly just share a few key combinations that I think really serve me, that I love, that always go together for me and I end up really enjoying. The first one being a longwear lip liner with a hydrating lip balm. I think that this is perfect because you get the longevity and the precision of a lip liner, plus you get the hydration and comfort of a tinted lip balm. And tinted lip balms can tend to be more sheer, so being able to accompany it with a lip liner that has more pigmentation, you can kind of customize exactly how bold or how sheer or how washed of a color it ends up looking on the lips. The next combination that I really like, a tinted lip stain with a contouring lip product, because you get the definition of the contouring lip product and you can kind of clean it up with that product, plus you get the longevity and natural flush of a lip stain. I also really love using something like a water lip stain as the base color for a lot of different combinations of lip products. And a My Lips But Better lip liner shade with a glossy lip tint. So I think that a My Lips But Better lip liner shade can act as like your definer again, but this time a more seamless look. Like for instance, if you were to overline slightly like I have today, it doesn't look as obvious. At least I don't think it does. And coupling that with a glossy lip tint, you get the gloss look and the longevity of it. And then when everything fades away, it just looks like your natural lip color. Now with these different combinations of lip products, I feel like you can kind of mix and match them and they would all work seamlessly together. And of course, we have to talk about setting everything down. And this can be anything from like a loose powder to a finishing powder to setting sprays. And I'm kind of grouping these all together because this really depends on your skin type and your goals for your makeup. And what I mean by that is you may need one powder or you might need all of them like me, but these are going to be the ones that I personally would not skip out on. I feel like there are so many powders under the sun now when it comes to setting the face, but to make it easier to digest, because I've gotten this question from you guys before, just know that there are two types of setting powders, and depending on your needs, this is going to depend on which you're going to use. So with setting powders, these are meant to lock in any creams or liquids that you've used before this step, before the powder. Essentially, it keeps things in place and it controls your oils. If you produce a lot of oils, this is going to be the thing that kind of helps with longevity. This is also going to be the step that helps with any creasing, like stopping your liquids from moving around. And I typically will use this right after all of my liquids and creams are on, and then I'll go in with any powder blushes or bronzers that I want to use, because this can also help your blushes and bronzers go on more seamlessly, less patchy. Now finishing powders, these are definitely different, and I know that some powders are marketed as both, and this can be determined by your skin type, your skin texture, and you can use them however you want, but there are specific finishing powders out there. These are, for all intents and purposes, a final step that helps the overall look of your makeup. This is what's going to blur the pores, soften any harsh makeup lines. Maybe your blush is looking a little too intense. You use this finishing powder on top and it just blurs it in. It gives you a soft focus glow or like a satin matte finish. This is like the filter on a photo. It's how you ultimately want your makeup to look throughout the day. So think of it like this: a setting is control throughout the day, finishing is look throughout the day. Now for setting powders, I prefer a loose setting powder. I can pack it on or I can like dust it on with a brush. And I will say that this will take trial and error for each and every specific powder that you test out. Some powders work better for me with a brush, some powders work better with a puff. You just kind of have to figure it out. And I would recommend that if you're going to try out a powder, try it in all different forms, like how you can apply it, just to see how it works. I'll flash up on my screen here some of my all-time favorites and how I prefer to use them. My preference right now has not always been how I use them. I used to be able to pack on all of these powders with a puff, but now that I am experiencing more texture, more fine lines and wrinkles on my face, I do find that a light dusting is really all I need in some areas. So that's why I say play around with how you apply it, what steps you apply it in, and how much you use. How I apply setting powder in the dead of summer also is completely different to how I would use them in the winter. And as far as finishing powders, I've noticed that I really like a compact powder. When it comes to touching up my makeup, I typically won't reapply all over the face. I'll just like pinpoint apply it. And I will say that I'll use a finishing powder sparingly because it can kind of make or break your makeup, especially if you're touching up with it. Again, I'll flash on the screen here some of my favorites and how I tend to use them. And lastly, I want to touch on some setting sprays. I feel like setting sprays now are so much more effective than they used to be. Am I wrong? I feel like we have really specific, very targeted setting sprays, and also they range. Like you can get a super mattifying one, a super dewy one, just like a middle of the road one. I would say that I need a setting spray to just lock in my makeup and to help with my oils throughout the day. I think those are the ones that I reach for without even thinking about. I think of it almost as like a final shield from my environment. And you guys, I'm gonna go through this so quickly because I've talked about all of these like 1,000 times. One Size Until Dawn. This is for all day wear. If my makeup already looks exactly how I want it, if the finish is exactly how I want it, this is the one I'm going to use. It's essentially hairspray for your face, I would say. My next one is the Danessa Myricks Liquid Blurring Balm. This is for extended oil control because again, it has that upslite in it. So it's going to kind of eat up those oils throughout the day. So it not only blocks it, but it prevents it as well. And it's mattifying throughout the day. It's my go-to for daily wear. And it's also my go-to for when I need my makeup to last a long time. This can add a little bit of hydration back to the skin whenever you apply it. So what I like to do is I'll spray the face completely. I will take a little puff and push it in after maybe like 20 seconds if it's still wet. And then if I need it, I will pinpoint powder with whatever finishing powder I use that day. Okay, you guys, so those were all of my products that I would use if I had to start over, or what I would look for if I had to start over. And I hope my reasoning behind each one helped you guys kind of understand better how to look at your collection, or maybe even how you'll shop in the future if you want to really hone in on like a core group of products that you know that you'll love and continue reaching for no matter what the newest viral product is at the time. Now I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comments what your core products are in your routine, the ones that you constantly reach for. Thank you again to Haru Haru Wonder for sponsoring this video. Again, I'll have everything linked down below for you guys if you're interested in trying anything out. And until next time, you guys, I'm gonna leave a video right here that YouTube actually thinks you'll be interested in based on what you've been watching recently. And I hope you guys take care, and I will see you very soon. Bye.